Well, Six Nations begins this weekend with England taking on Scotland in their opening match. Preparations have been far from ideal, with COVID restrictions meaning it is a much reduced size of squad. Let's go live to England's training base to Gail Davis.
Yeah, thanks very much. We're standing under a tent in England's training camp. Really strict protocols around this Six Nations. As you say, smaller squads, no one coming or going. Lots of bonding and activity outside, Eddie, but we'll talk about that, won't we, in a moment. First of all, let's chat team selection today. You said you never played particularly well in the autumn, so what's this team hopefully going to give you against Scotland on the weekend?
Well, we played well enough to win the Six Nations and the Autumn Cup, but we'd always like to play better, and we want to dominate the opposition a bit more, so this is the best 23 for this weekend. Again, we look at it as a squad of 23 rather than no, you guys look at it as 15, and we feel like it's a great combination for this game.
Talk to us about the decision to play Ollie Lawrence at 12, Henry Slade at 13, with, of course, Owen Farrell captaining from 10. We've seen glimpses of it, but what do you want to see against the Scotland midfield on the weekends?
Really, for those two, it's interchangeable positions. The number of times 10 passes, 12 passes to 13 now in the game of rugby is very small. But Ollie brings some good power running in the centres, and Slade's obviously got sleight of foot and sleight of hand. Different
starting front row, isn't it? A couple of people missing, obviously Sinclair suspended, Mako Vunipola injured, Joe Marler not with you. So Will Stewart and Ellis Genge, the youngsters get their opportunity. You're looking forward to seeing them go? Yeah,
it's a great test of our strength. Genge has been with us since 2016 now, and is quietly going about his business, maybe not so quietly, but really improving as a player. And Will Stewart, the last 12 months, developed greatly.
Yeah, Mark Wilson back in as well. How have you found having a smaller squad to work with? We know that you thrive on keeping players on their toes. You're just not able to quite do that in the same way, are they? When you know you're kind of not going to go home on a Tuesday night. It's human nature, isn't it?
Well, we've actually got a bigger squad than we normally have, because normally by a Tuesday night we've only got 25, so we're delighted to have 28 to work the whole week.
And tell us about getting to know some of the newer players. Again, you like to kind of get into them. You like to understand what makes them tick. And we're standing here in the pouring rain, and the protocols means that there's much tighter restrictions on being inside. No socialisation can take place inside. How are you getting to bond with these new guys? How are you knowing which buttons to press?
Well, the training time's important for us, and we do get times to be able to sit with the players. We just have to be cognizant of the 15-minute alarm bell ringing. So generally the meetings are fairly short anyway, so we're progressing in that area.
And you took the decision to have a psychologist in camp the whole time. Who did you talk to about that? What sort of role is that going to play, and how carefully you're having to monitor the players? Because just reading Jofra Archer a couple of days ago, he spent more time than anyone else in a biosphere last week, and it's tough, isn't it? It's going to be a very different challenge for you.
Yeah, well, I think you can look at it in two ways. Firstly, I've never seen the players so excited about wanting to play rugby. They love playing rugby, they love playing for England, and they want to be part of this team. So there's that excitement and that gratitude of being able to do what they love doing, whereas a lot of other people can't. You just look over there and you've got one or two people walking. Most people are locked in their homes, so we're lucky to be doing that. And our sports psych has been with us now really since the World Cup. We've had a sports psych close to full time, and she's just giving additional support to the players when they need it.
As a coach, you probably wouldn't have had to be so aware of kind of being in a bubble and what that brings. I mean, these players are going to be spending an awful lot of time on their own, aren't they? How much have you had to educate yourself on that, and who have you spoken to about that?
Well, I think you learn on the run a bit, but we've gone out of our ways to speak to a number of coaches in a number of different competitions, NBA, NFL, Aussie rules in Australia. We spoke to cricket, spoke to Gareth Southgate. So we're trying to pick up the best bits from everywhere in the world and work out how we can maximise this situation.
There will be times, of course, when your players go home and then you have to trust that they'll do the right thing. We saw, didn't we, with Josh Adams and what he did, and he's now been suspended for a couple of games of these Six Nations. It's hard, isn't it? You have to trust your players, but equally, do they know how? Is there a true understanding of just how important it is that this tournament goes ahead for the sport as a whole?
Yeah, no, I think they do understand that, but you know, humans make errors. You know, if we were robots, it'd be easy. It's not, and we've seen, you know, in general society, there's difficulties, people following regulations, but I'm quietly optimistic that our players realise their responsibilities and they'll fulfil their responsibilities.
And finally, Warren Gatland, we hear, is in the country. Is he going to be popping in over the next few days? Have you spoken to him? I mean, it kind of starts now, doesn't it, the build-up to the Lions tour?
It all starts now and it's all exciting, but our players realise they've got to get through their responsibilities for England, play well for England, and if we get the results we want to get, then they're going to put themselves in the front page, and Warren will want to come and visit them.
I think what it said, Warren was going to kind of drop into the home nations. Is he planning to come and see you in the next few days?
I think he's planned, not this week, but maybe the Wales week he might come in.
Yeah, I'm sure he will that week. And just actually one final thing, because I know you obviously follow your football closely. Concussion subs come in on the weekend. I think 2012 in rugby they came in, and how significant was that in terms of beginning to understand the problems of it, and how much could something like that impact football and the future health of its players?
I think, you know, the sports medicine's developing rapidly, and I think we're all understanding the responsibilities we've got, and I'm sure it's going to help football.
Yeah, thanks very much. Look at this weather behind. I mean, the England players are trying on. What have you got? Outdoor chess, fire pits, snoods, hats.
It's all there.
It's all there. I'm still not sure it's that appealing, is it, to make sure they can kind of socialise and bond ahead of this tournament, because this protocol's really, really strict. Eddie, of course, says you have to be adaptable, so I'm sure England will be ready and raring to go as they defend their Six Nations title, beginning against Scotland on Saturday.
Thanks, Gail. The outdoor chess sounds quite fun, doesn't it?